Unfortunately for us, we seem to be living in a time that might be described as a time of the perfect storm, which of course is a storm where all the bad things come together at once. This will sound a little bit unrelated, but let's start with our federal government, which is a global empire that lives on borrowed money. Any entity that is living on borrowed money is also living on borrowed time, and only God knows when somebody is going to say, this is bullshit, we're going to stop taking your crap. And then who knows what will happen, the bubble will pop. So then on top of that, we have this weather event going on. I was in Costco in San Francisco just about an hour ago, and I was looking for grapefruit because my wife wanted some, and I didn't find anything after looking on all the shelves. And I found a guy who was working in the produce department, and I asked him about grapefruit, and he said, well, we had a few last week. Whoopee. And as I recall, in the spring, the cold weather destroyed a large part of the citrus crop. They did have oranges, but there was no grapefruit anywhere in sight. And so this is just one more kind of like nail in the coffin of our food supply that we don't need. So the main part of this is watching Hurricane Florence come in and drench North Carolina and South Carolina and some places. Started me thinking about, well, what does this mean for the crops? And of course, this means bad things. There is never a good time of year for crops to be drenched in heavy rain, but certainly towards the fall, towards the harvest time, is the worst possible time because it's the time of year when things are supposed to be drying out. And here we are having this huge amount of rain coming in on a part of the country that has been soaked in rain all summer. So, every little bit hurts. So, the research part of this now is to take a look at what North Carolina typically produces, with the speculation that most of that is going to go away. Before I go into that, I want to mention one more point, which is I heard a news story that said that most of the people in the Carolinas do not have flood insurance. There has not been any event like this within the memory of living people, and so why would you have flood insurance when there's no reason to believe that you're going to have one? And yet here we are with probably widespread flooding. And, when the water goes down and these people go back to their houses and find nothing or find ruination, where are they going to go? It's not going to be safe to live in those houses, and, their jobs are there and everything. It's, this is really just a bottomless pit of suffering. So here's the first summary I've found, and it's the North Carolina economy as a whole. So under livestock, they say hogs are the most important livestock product raised in the state, followed by broiler chickens. They also raise a lot of turkeys. They're one of the leading states in the production of hogs. Other livestock products are milk, beef, cattle, and ducks. Under crops, greenhouse and nursery products lead the way in crop agriculture, but tobacco is the state's leading field crop, followed by cotton. Soybeans and corn for grain are also important. They are a leading peanut and sweet potato production state. Apples are the biggest fruit crop, but blueberries, peaches, and strawberries are also important. They also produce hay and wheat. So going beyond agriculture, in manufacturing, they produce cotton cloth. Tobacco, I don't really care about that. It's an economic loss, but no loss to the human race, frankly. They produce chemicals, pharmaceuticals, cleaning products, synthetic fibers. They also produce computer and electronic products that include communication equipment and computer components. You don't need an EMP to suffer damage, do you? Mining, crushed stone, mostly granite, followed by trap rock and limestone. Phosphate rock for fertilizer, gravel and lithium for making aluminum and glass, and also lithium for batteries. Right? A leading producer of feldspar, mica, pyrophyllite, clay, granite, marble, olivine, and talc. The most valuable fishing and shell products are blue crabs, clams, flounder, and shrimp. They also do farming of fish, of catfish and crayfish and trout. And of course, some of the banks, Bank of America and Wells Fargo, have big facilities there in Charlotte. So that could all have a lot of problems. So here's a page. I'm not going to show you the whole page, but it's their top 10 agricultural commodities. It says that in 2016, 818 million broilers were produced. Okay. They employ 46,000 people in producing pork and produced 9.3 million hogs in 2016 with $2.1 billion in annual cash receipts for the pork. Turkeys, they produced 33.5 million turkeys in 2016 with 993 million in cash receipts. Tobacco, who cares? But $668 million in 2016. Soybeans, $543 million in 2016. Chicken eggs, $444 million. 15.1 million birds, 3.7 billion eggs. Okay, corn, $429 million, $120. $429 million, 121 million bushels. Sweet potatoes, 95,000 acres of sweet potatoes, 17 million hundredweights, $342 million in cash receipts. Cattle and calves, 370,000 beef cattle with $255 million a year in cash receipts. Dairy products, 45,000 milk cows, 965 million pounds of milk, $164.2 million. Okay, that's your top 10. So, folks, this does not look good. And this is just North Carolina. There's probably going to be some damage in South Carolina, and who knows where this storm tracks. There could be damage in a variety of states, but, even with crop insurance, the food is gone, and it's gone in a lot of other places as well. So we're back to growing your own, grow what you can, and start now. And, always say microgreens, because you get a crop every 2 weeks of highly nutritious and tasty greens with a relatively small amount of effort. So wait till Sunday when we have the weekly worldwide summary. But this is enough for now, isn't it?